It's Christmas time, the family's round, and someone is inevitably going to break out a bottle of Baileys or some other equivalent Irish cream. But what if I told you there might be a better way? Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, it is indeed Christmas time, and I think right now, if you're watching this on the day of the release, it is Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas to you all once again. And today I'm going to find out whether this offering from Buffalo Trace can properly trump the nation's favourite festive Irish cream liqueur once and for all. I am of course talking about Baileys, and if you're anything like me, I can understand it, I can appreciate it, and I kind of feel like I want one until I have one, and then I go, you know what, it was nice, but it was a bit too sweet and it was a bit too, I don't know, just a bit bland somehow. This though promises something a little bit different. It's from Buffalo Trace, it's called Bourbon Cream, and it is exactly the same concept. It is a cream liqueur, but instead of using some nondescript Irish whiskey like Bailey's, this uses the real deal Buffalo Trace. And I don't just mean the real deal as in it was some whiskey made in the Buffalo Trace distillery. No, this is the real deal, fully aged and everything. According to their online marketing at least, this has got the legitimate, properly fully aged Buffalo Trace product in it, which promises something, yeah, a little bit more intense, a little bit more looks, and, well, if you're anything like me, a little bit more whiskey focused, which is exactly what I want when it comes to that slightly easier drinking cream liqueur at Christmas time. So, as described on the bottle, it's from the Buffalo Trace Distillery Bourbon Cream, made in Kentucky with straight bourbon whiskey. It is a liqueur at 15%, which, if memory serves, makes it a bit lower in ABV than Bailey's, but you know, whatever. It's 30 proof. It's a 750ml bottle, and these you can get in the UK, not from many supermarkets, but you can get it from online retailers in the region of kind of 20 quid-ish a bottle, although I saw it on offer, I think as low as 15 very recently, which, if it is better than Bailey's, well, makes it an absolute bargain. Just before we break into it then, a quick look at the bottle, and I mean, you can tell what it's trying to do. It kind of looks like the Bailey's bottle a little bit, but it's got, you know, it's got enough going on. It looks interesting. It's got that nice little kind of still kind of bump in the top there, and yeah, it just looks all right, doesn't it? Festively appropriate, if nothing else. So how are we going to do this? Well, I'm going to give it the proper whiskey treatment. I'm going to pour it into a Glencairn, try and get some aroma notes off it, some tasting profile bits, but then I'm also going to try it as it's actually intended to be drunk. Let's be honest here, doing the enthusiast thing that I normally do where we try and pick out flavour notes and all that stuff is not really how you're going to be enjoying this. It's going to be sat amongst family and friends, and you're probably just going to be having a good time, not thinking too much about it, but you do want to enjoy it. So we'll Glencairn it first, and then I'll pour some into a tumbler with a large piece of ice to actually see what it's like under those circumstances. I've heard loads of recipes, cocktails, all sorts go in with this, some fantastic ways to actually get this going, even people pouring it on pancakes and that sort of stuff. Not what I'm going to be doing here today, but I'm just going to find out if it's just that bit better. So let's break it open. Cap back on, safety first. Ooh, I can smell it. It's nice, soft, sweet, but there is a distinct bit of bourbon in the air. I mean, in the glass, look at it. It looks nigh on identical. Slightly suspicious. I think it always, I don't know what it is. It's something about that residue on the glass that always puts me off cream liqueurs a bit. It's something, I don't know, makes me feel slightly uneasy about it. But anyway. Ooh, that's, okay, hold on. Odd is how I'm going to describe that aroma. It's not unpleasant. It's not, now hold on a minute. I'm getting into it now. It was kind of, it felt like two things fighting each other to start with. You had the nice, creamy, sweet, lactosey cream liqueur bit, and then you had some proper, rich, oaky, woody, you know, intense bourbon notes on the other side. And it felt like they were butting heads just for a moment, but with a little bit of time in the glass, oh, that's gone from I'm not sure to, whilst it definitely smells like Bailey's, it's got so much more going on. There's breadthier, depthier, oakier, richer notes from that bourbon. And whilst the ABV might be lower than Bailey's, that aroma is punchy. So I think we're standing in good ground. Let's give it a go. Cheers. Merry Christmas. Okay. I mean, it's still not as bourbon forward as I personally would have liked. However, it's super velvety, creamy, sweet, heaps of vanilla and caramel notes, both from the cream liqueur part and from the bourbon, I suspect. And there is the tiniest little bit of kind of bourbon burn, like a booze burn. It's not strong, but it's just like there is this kind of dry, woody, spiky, boozy hit right at the back of the throat. It doesn't last very long. It's a sprinkling of peppering, and well, pepper is probably not a bad word to use because it is just a touch spicy. It might not be high ABV, but it does have this winter warming thing going on. Yeah, it's a bit easy to drink that. Right then, big chilled glass with a big old ice cube in there. Sorry it's not clear ice, I know, I did not have the time or inclination to spend doing that, but it is a big old rock anyway. Right then, let's get us a little bit of this poured over the top. I don't want too much because, well, frankly, Mrs. Crummy Beard is quite keen on trying this and she's not in tonight, so, which is unfortunate. We were going to do this together actually for you, but it didn't happen, sadly. And anyway, let's give this a proper go. How is it cooled down over ice? I imagine that noise is probably quite annoying over the microphone, so I do apologise. It's even better over ice, actually. That is quite bizarre. Some of those sweeter, almost sickly notes from the cream dial back a bit when it's over ice. And normally, put whiskey over ice, it mutes some of the flavours. But in this, it's muted more of those sweeter, slightly sickly, creamy notes and allowed more of that core Buffalo Trace to come through. It's a drink of two halves. The first bit of it, all across the majority of the tongue, big, sweet, lightly boozy, lightly spicy, but predominantly almost milkshake-like experience. Little bit of coffee here and there. And then, as you swallow it, you start to pick up some distinct, again, I've said it all already, but the caramel, the vanilla, the woody notes, a little bit of the alcohol burn, and it's all just, it's pretty good. And I'm aware that this is probably going to be quite a short video because I don't really want to pick this apart. It's not meant for it, and ultimately, it's quite a simple construct. There aren't an infinite amount of flavours here. But I am curious to do one thing. And that is take a fresh Glencairn and a bottle of the real deal and just see, is there any actual similarity? Now for our friends in the US, this is the UK version of Buffalo Trace, which sadly is at 40% rather than 45 or 80 rather than 90 proof, but so now I'm doing this. The cream does feel just literally like a creamy bourbon cocktail, which is effectively what it is, ultimately just bottled. But yeah, the bit right at the back of the throat where Buffalo Trace just pinches you, just a little bit, just a tiny bit of burn, is exactly the same place that the cream gets. There is a hallmark of it, and that's all I really wanted to discover. Is it really, really similar? And yes, broadly speaking, if you like regular Buffalo Trace and you like the idea of a cream liqueur, you're definitely going to like the bourbon cream. That's probably not a huge revelation, but I wanted to find out for myself because I'm a very bit, here and there when it comes to Baileys, like I said at the start. This, yeah, I can definitely get behind, and I suspect it won't last very long. On that note, they recommend not keeping these forever and ever. Basically, start it once you've bought it, kind of a thing, and once you have started it, keep it in the fridge and it's probably good. I think they said for 6 to 8 months, but yeah, I don't see this getting past New Year's if I'm totally honest with you. But yeah, it's pretty good. Have you got a bottle? Have you tried it? Let me know in the comments below. Or is there another Baileys alternative that's even better? It's not the sort of stuff I normally cover on this channel. If I'm honest, it's not something I'm really interested in, but when I heard there was a legitimate, decent bourbon distiller doing one, I felt like I had to give it a go, and I'm very, very glad that I did. And that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it if you haven't already subscribed, if you will be so kind. And once again, Merry Christmas. Cheers.